Hello and welcome. Today we're going to demo how to integrate NeuralSeek with Watson Assistant and use natural language generation, creating a functional virtual agent in just minutes. Let's begin. So we'll start on IBM Cloud. We'll provision a copy of NeuralSeek. Today we'll start with the new small business plan. The small business plan is the fastest way to get started because you don't need to bring your own knowledge base. Okay, NeuralSeek is now provisioned. Let's go in and configure. And we'll get our knowledge base set up by scraping the NeuralSeek website. And launch the crawler. That'll take a few seconds to crawl neuralseek.com. There's only a handful of pages out on that site. Let's give it a quick test. And we're getting answers back in knowledge base context. Now it's important to note the first few questions you ask NeuralSeek will be used to calibrate the confidence scores of the system. All right, let's integrate into Watson Assistant. The first thing I'll do is download our custom extension OpenAPI file and copy the API key into the clipboard. Then I'll switch over to Watson Assistant. Inside of Watson Assistant, I'll go to the Integrations tab and build our custom extension. Give it a good name and a description. Here I'll upload the file I just downloaded and everything looks good. Now I'll add it to the system by choosing API key authentication and dropping in my code. From here we'll go out to Actions and use the NeuralSeek Quick Start. Select the starter kit and add the template. Now, inside of the action that was created automatically for us, we need to connect it to our extension. You connect the question to query text and the content to query context. And save that. Now we need to do something with our NeuralSeek search action. Oftentimes, you might want to use NeuralSeek as a fallback action in case no other action matches. So let's do that. And we'll save that off. Let's try it out. And we have our NeuralSeek search activated through the fallback, and we got an answer. Let's go over to preview and try a few more. Okay. Let's go back out to NeuralSeek and take a look at the questions that fell through to NeuralSeek. We'll head over to the Curate tab and we'll see all of the questions that we just asked through both the Seek tab in NeuralSeek and through Watson Assistant. We can see the answers that came back. We can see the questions that were asked here in dark black, and then in light gray and underlined, these are sample questions that the system auto-generated for us, so that it's very easy for us to create an action or dialogue out of them. For any of the answers, I can come in and edit the answer, helping train the system on the way we like to answer questions, both in the language of the answer and the content. As we train the answers, the trained answers are used to train the natural language generation system for future answers to questions that are similar to this question. Now, you may find that in your data set, multiple intents may be created for things you consider to be the same, meaning I asked about data protection and the privacy policy. To your business, those may be the same thing. So we can take them together and merge them. And now we have a merged intent with the answers and questions from both. We could also, if we want, rename this to be a better name that's more topical for us. In case I mismerged, I can also unmerge the intents. Any intent I can flag for follow-up, and then easily filter by edited or flagged or unflagged or unedited items. Now, one of the best features of NeuralSeek is the built-in analytics that help you understand what questions people are asking of the system and how well the system is doing at answering those questions. Inside of the Analytics tab, we give an executive summary of the items that we feel that you need to spend more time on updating in your documentation. As we get more data, and we just created this so there'll be no look back period yet, we'll be able to scroll the bar backwards and see how the questions, the answers, the coverage, and the confidence changed over time. But you can see from right now, our coverage is pretty low, as well as our confidence, meaning that we're asking questions that the source knowledge base, the website scrape that we took at the beginning of the demo, doesn't do a great job at answering a lot of these questions just yet. So we should spend more time providing more data into the system. For any of the individual items, we can click through and get right back to exactly the question that was asked and the answer that was generated. Now, trustworthy AI is a focal point of both Watson and NeuralSeek, and we do a lot to help ease the provenance and traceability of generated answers. So let's look to see how this question is going to be answered now. We'll drop it into the Seek, and then we can see that we had a knowledge-based context article and a train answer come together to form this. We can turn on the highlights in the answer provenance and see the exact pieces of each document that came together to form the answer, seeing that the majority of the answer was formed by the trained answer, and additional components came in from the privacy policy itself. Now back on the Curate tab, NeuralSeek allows you to use the generated answers, the user questions, and the system-generated training questions to automatically build yourself actions and dialogue inside of Watson Assistant. I can come in and select the items that I like. The system will automatically tell me if there's going to be conflict in the training intent amongst things I've selected and disable pieces that would conflict. I can export these into a Watson Assistant actions file, and I can import a base Watson Assistant actions. So inside of Watson Assistant, let's come back out to actions because I've already done a bit of work here. We'll go to settings and download my current state. Inside of NeuralSeek, I'll upload that base file. I'll select the actions that I want, export those out back into Assistant, and load them in. It's as easy as that. Now we've got the 3 new FAQ articles layered in as actions directly alongside the content that I had inside of this assistant, complete with all of the training data and all of the responses that were generated, edited, and validated by my users. Now, we've already shown how NeuralSeek can enhance trustworthy AI by tracing the provenance of the actual generated answer, showing you where the words came from, where the sources were found, and showing how the system stitched together the answer that it did. Let's look at some of the configuration options that exist to help enact that corporate control on the system. First off, in the organizational preferences, we allow you to add corporate bias. Now, bias is normally something that you don't want in an AI system, but when dealing in a corporate setting, oftentimes bias is appropriate, meaning when someone asks you about a set of products or a comparison, you want the system to be biased towards your own products, meaning if someone was to ask IBM what the best database is, one would expect IBM to say DB2, whereas if you asked Oracle, you would expect Oracle to say Oracle database. Now, all of the features that I show you can be modified for every individual call to NeuralSeek. So at a per call or per page setting, you can pass through Watson Assistant runtime arguments. In addition, you can denote what we call a stump speech. So a stump speech is a small corpus of information that gets dynamically added to any knowledge base articles that may be found on a topic. Or if nothing is found, it gives NeuralSeek something to run home to talk about. Meaning, if you're a company that sells databases and someone starts talking to you about trees, you can use the stump speech to help draw the conversation back to something topical, perhaps the page the user is on. For languages, the system will aim to answer in the language that was asked. but you can override the language for the instance or again per call. For output formats, the system supports generating both Watson Assistant dialogue and Watson Assistant actions. Prompt engineering helps get around some bad user behavior, meaning oftentimes in certain situations like phone and some web interactions, people tend to just say a single word to a virtual agent. That may be even hard for a user to understand exactly what they're meaning by saying that one word. Prompt engineering allows you to modify the user statement on the fly, prepending a phrase to help turn bad user context into a question that may be better answered by the system. Answer engineering is another feature that allows us to dynamically modify context articles in the knowledge base as well as generated answers. This is often used to change phone numbers, contact information, especially when we're moving from a legacy call center to a new modern one that's fronted by a virtual agent. You might want to get rid of the references to call 1-800-MY-COMPANY and instead say, if you need an agent, just say, I need an agent. Likewise, you can use answer engineering to change product names on the fly. So if you're a company that often renames products, you can use it to catch previous names of products and ensure that only the current name is used. Then there's misinformation tolerance. The lower the misinformation tolerance, the harder it is for someone to make the system hallucinate, meaning the harder it is for the person to make the system talk about something that is fake or not real or not aligned with your company. So this is an important toggle for corporate settings. Now, the tighter the misinformation tolerance, the less ability the system has to deal with misspellings or misphrasing. Warning confidence allows NeuralSeek to prepend a warning on answer confidences that are below a certain set threshold so that you as a corporation can choose to allow a low confidence response, but prepend it with a warning saying, I don't know about this answer, but I'm going to try to tell you the best I have. This is something that a live agent would do during the normal course of their job. Lastly, minimum confidence. So again, tracking back to the confidence score that comes out from the source information in your knowledge repository. If it's below a certain set threshold that you set, you can block the system from responding. This will help also guarantee that the system is not prone to hallucination because everything coming out of the system will be backed by knowledge in your knowledge repository. Hopefully this very quick demo has shown you the ease and the power that NeuralSeek brings to Watson Assistant to rapidly generate a functional virtual agent in a fraction of the time you would normally spend to do so. Coupled with advanced analytics and traceable natural language generation, we provide the ultimate tools to leverage large language models and natural language generation for a corporate setting. I look forward to diving deeper with you in these topics. Have a great day, and we'll speak to you soon.